Hello everyone, Mr. Lipchick here, and our topic of discussion for this segment of instruction will be the process for amending the U.S. Constitution. Okay. One of the strengths of the U.S. Constitution is the fact that it can be amended or changed. The Founding Fathers knew that our society would change and evolve and included a provision or provisions for lawfully amending the Constitution. There's a picture to the right of some people destroying gallons of beer after the passage of the 18th Amendment, which started the prohibition of alcohol. There is a formal amendment process, which has basically two methods of proposing amendments to the Constitution. Number one, 2/3 of each House of Congress vote to amend the Constitution. That is one way of proposing an amendment, not passing it, but proposing it. And this has been the only method used so far. Another method, the second method, is a national convention called by Congress at the request of 2/3 of the states. This method has never been used because the convention could not be limited to considering only the amendment that is being proposed. It would open up all kinds of controversial things and could create a lot of problems. And the delegates could propose and make changes that were not intended by the politicians calling for the convention in the first place. Amendments are proposed at the national level, but they are ratified or approved at the state level. After an amendment is proposed by Congress, one of the two methods, Congress chooses one of the two following methods for the states to approve it. One is a vote by 3/4 of all the state legislatures, or each state calls a special ratifying convention. Congress also specifies the amount of time that the states have to vote on the issue. Why would Congress do this? Because politicians have a way of putting things off, and if they need a decisive vote, they can put a time limit on it. There have also been informal changes to the Constitution in addition to formal amendments, and some have occurred through Congress. The laws passed by Congress have clarified the Constitution and expanded its meaning. And these changes were necessary as the nation grew and times changed. Congress also changes the Constitution through its practices, what it does. The ways in which Congress has used its powers over the years has shaped the Constitution. Interpretation of the high crimes and misdemeanors part of the impeachment clause has been subject to interpretation. The actions of presidents can also lead to informal additions to the Constitution. The rules of presidential succession by the vice president upon the death of the president were at first determined by presidential actions. In 1841, Vice President John Tyler took the oath of office after President William Henry Harrison died of pneumonia 3 weeks after entering office. Some officials opposed this, but it became the practice. President dies, Vice President takes over. Eventually, the 25th Amendment clarified the process in 1967. Presidents also have also expanded their power outside the Constitution through executive agreements with foreign powers. Instead of using the treaty process, which requires Senate ratification, the President deals directly with other heads of state and foreign affairs. These agreements are controversial because the President is sidestepping Congress. Presidents have expanded their power in domestic lobbying, also in domestic affairs, by lobbying Congress. And to the right, you see a picture of an American POW returning home after the 1973 Vietnam Peace Agreements, which was an executive agreement concluded by Richard Nixon. Courts have also had a role in changing the Constitution through the process of judicial review. The Supreme Court will review lower court decisions and decide if the Constitution has been violated. The Supreme Court has even changed its own decisions. In 1956, the case Brown versus the Board of Education overturned the Plessy versus Ferguson ruling. Plessy versus Ferguson said that segregation was okay as long as it was separate but equal facilities, and Brown versus Board said that segregation is not okay. So this decision made segregated schools illegal. There are two philosophies on this process of judicial review. There is one of judicial restraint, in which the court should avoid taking initiative on social and political questions. And this is the philosophy usually held by political conservatives. And one of judicial activism with the court, which says the court should play a role in shaping national policies. And this philosophy is usually held by people who are politically liberal. Changes have also occurred through custom and usage. The role of political parties is an example. While there is no mention of the political parties in the Constitution, they control much of the political activity in Congress and in other government bodies. So to review, there are two formal ways to propose an amendment to the Constitution: a 2/3 vote for an amendment by each House of Congress, or a national convention called by Congress at the request of 2/3 of the states. Amendments are approved by Congress but ratified by the states. Proposed by Congress but ratified or approved by the states. By a 3/4 vote of all of the state legislatures, which is very difficult to get. Or a special ratifying convention within each state. The Constitution has been changed informally by congressional interpretation when making laws, judicial review, actions of the President, and customs and usage. That concludes our lesson on the process for amending the Constitution. I appreciate your attendance, and I look forward to seeing you in the live lesson. Have a great day.